A warm welcome to you all from me and my team who are all around the building. My name's Karen Clegg. I head up the Building Research and Innovation Capacity Team, the BRIC team, as you'll know, and we are absolutely here to support you, as are all of our colleagues that I'm going to introduce you to in a short while. I'm completely aware that you're going to hear a lot this morning, and you're going to see a lot, and you're going to go out at 12:30, eat a sandwich, and go, I've taken none of that in. I've remembered nothing. We will absolutely make sure that the slides from this morning go on the York Graduate Research School web pages. This is being filmed, so you can watch it again, and then you'll have all the links that you need. So allow me to take a very short space of time. My colleague here this morning, Celia on the front row, is itching to get started after me, so I'm going to be fairly quick. But if there's anything that I say that doesn't make sense, please shout at me or stick your hand up and go, "Hey up," in a proper Yorkshire fashion and say, "I've no idea what you're on about, woman." These are my colleagues. They are the best team on earth. I can say that because I'm completely biased, but I am surrounded by incredibly talented and super enthusiastic people. And they were all PhD students at some point, actually not all, but nearly all. In their time. So one of the career options that you might consider is going in to support other PhDs at some point. I don't think any of us imagined this was going to be our career, but we find it utterly fulfilling. So it's great to be with you. All these people are there to support you. They have put together for you a Padlet. There's going to be lots of new technology that you're not used to, or perhaps you're very familiar, so please don't think I'm being patronising. But this Padlet is available to you. It's got all the resources and all of the links that we're going to mention this morning and more. So it's there for you to use as a resource. What my team and I do, amongst many things, is organise the Professional Development and Skills Programme. And that's there as a complementary programme to all of the research methodologies and approaches and the very nuanced specific skills that you're going to learn around quantitative and qualitative analysis. Maybe some of you are involved in survey design. Some of you will be in labs. Some of you will be quite literally out in a field if you're archaeologists. And some of you will be in far-flung places conducting your research. Whether you're here in York or whether you are remote, all of this training is going to be available to you, because one of the flip sides and the good parts of the last pandemic years is that we flipped most of our training so that it's online. And so whether that's synchronous and we're delivering it via a Zoom call, or whether it's online and available to you to be self-directed in your learning, then it's there for you at any time. And I want to extend Kate's welcome and say that wherever you are in the world at any point, we kind of are there in the background for you. Not skulking in a weird way, but just there to support you. So this gives a flavour of some of the things that we do. And that yellow line that I'm going to lead you to read for yourselves really gives you a flavour of the kind of breadth and scope of activities that you can get involved with. So some of it is around communication, some of it is around writing, some of it is about supporting the learning of others, and my colleagues will talk to you about being a graduate teaching assistant in your capacity as being able to really enable undergraduate students here develop their learning because of the very specialist knowledge that you have and will have in your field. It's a great opportunity for you to develop your facilitation and teaching skills, but I will let Maeve tell you more about that in a while. So I just want to give you a real flavour of the kinds of things that are available to you. There is some mandatory training, i.e. compulsory, you've got to do it. And because we care deeply at York about ethics and research integrity, we require for you to do the online self-completion postgraduate research integrity tutorial. It's short, you can work your way through it, but it will pose certain questions to you and you will be required to write answers to online. Questions about the way in which you're conducting your research. And it isn't just hands up biologists. It isn't just for those biologists who may or may not be cutting up animals or doing experiments with live people. Hands up, philosophers. It's for you as well. There are ethical considerations in every subject, and I defy you not to have, at some point, a moment where you go, should I be doing that? Should there be a form that someone fills in? Should I be requesting permission, to do this piece of research? Will I be upsetting the family of the poet who is now dead if I interpret their work in a way that they might not like? And I give that as an example because it was real some years ago. So there are issues for you all around integrity. There's some security awareness, as you might imagine, and we require for you all to complete a professional and career development plan, because as much as exciting as this is, and this is day one for you, there will be a day 400 and whatever it is, depending on whether you're full-time or part-time and how long you take to complete. There will be a life after the PhD, and we want for you to have the very best possible curriculum vitae, resume that you can to enable you to move on. So, Kate has already spoken to you about SkillsForge. Not only does it keep records of your supervisory meetings, but it's also the way in which you would book some of the workshops and the training that I'm describing here, and get that into your calendars. So it's the same piece of software, SkillsForge. View what you want. You can search it in a fairly simple way, and you can book it and make sure that goes into your system. I'm going to skate over this in the interest of time, but really all I'm saying is it's accessible through the platform called SkillsForge. The PDP then, the Professional Development Plan, we are super, super positive about this, and my colleagues and I have spent some time developing this process for you. What we want you to do is try and take about 10 days or more, or a bit less, depending on your experience and where you've come in, but focusing on your development, not just your PhD, but the complementary development that you can do as part of that, and to take stock of all of the breadth of skills and experience that you've got so far, and then think about the gaps. That's basically the process. And we've developed a number of resources to take you through what is essentially a 4-step process. So there's a prompt list of the many, many things that you could do. Some of them will be obvious to you, things like courses on project management and time management. There are other opportunities like being a buddy to another student that may not be quite so obvious to you. And these are all development opportunities. You will build up leadership skills, you will develop skills of empathy and listening and understanding by buddying another student. So there's a lot there for you in terms of inspiration and prompts. Then we can enable you to think about your journey and the life cycle and the things that you might do along the way. There's another Padlet of careers inspiration, and then that culminates in you developing a very short, very simple plan that you have a chat with your supervisor about. And your supervisor will also be able to say, there are perhaps, maybe you can be a student representative on a committee in the department. Maybe you want to volunteer for taking on responsibility for certain activities in your department. What I would encourage you to do, and our alumni will speak to you later, is get involved. Don't be on the periphery and the sidelines and stand there and watch everybody else developing their career and their research profile. You are now researchers. That means you dig about in weird places. It means you Google every other minute, not just TikTok. Although, hey, it's a source. There is beyond Wikipedia. And it means you are curious and inquisitive. And you will find stuff out and ask questions and be involved. Because if you don't, you finish up and somebody else is doing what you wanted to do and you think, yeah, I could have done that. Don't be one of those people who says, I could have done that. Don't have regrets. So, get involved. Here's a way that you can do that. We've got a researcher festival coming up for you in October. This is for early career researchers. And by that, I mean yourselves as PhD students, researchers, sorry if I'm slipping between those two phrases. You are registered as students, but by profession, you are researchers. if you want to use that as a descriptor. We also include in that postgraduate doctoral students. So beyond this, these are people who are committed to doing research and are funded to do research in specific areas. And with yourselves and them, you make up a community of about 3,500 people. You are a huge community of what we're broadly calling early career researchers. And we're inviting you all to get involved with the Researcher Festival. The programme went live yesterday. There is a superb programme out there for you about different elements of careers. Francina, you've developed it. What's in it?
There's stuff there about mental health and well-being, different networks that you can get involved in. Yes,
Sustainability, so environmental issues, well-being. There's a Queer Voices session. There's a session from academics about how to develop as an academic career. Have a look, get involved. I'm aware of time, so I'm going to skate on. We do a lot around public engagement, i.e. you talking as passionately and coherently and concisely about your research as possible. There are a number of opportunities for you to get involved with, but one of them is PhD Spotlight that will run as part of a bigger, wider event called York Talks on the 11th of January 2023. And then we have our 3-minute thesis, of which you'll be hearing from one of our winners a little bit later. But it's about being able to articulate your research in a way that's understandable to a non-specialist audience. So if you're doing something around nuclear fusion, about which I know about that much, and you can explain it to me in 3 minutes such that I understand it, then you're onto a winner. There's a lot of reasons for getting involved in your research, but it gives you an opportunity to organise and clarify your thinking. So it supports and complements your research. It isn't just a communication exercise. It will challenge you in being very concise to think about what you're actually doing and the impact that it may have on society. So it's a really great discipline. We do a lot around well-being. We understand, and we've lived through it just as you have, what the last few years have taught us, which is doing research can be a lonely process, and actually as a community we really want to work together. So there is a buddy scheme, as I've noticed. Francina, to my left, coordinates this. We put it in place a couple of years ago when the pandemic kicked off, and we thought, my goodness, how lonely must it be to be out there in the world somewhere, starting your PhD, and you know no one, and you can't go out of your bedroom. Literally, you can't leave the house. So we organised a buddy system. So we appealed to our 2nd and 3rd and 4th year researchers and said, can you be an online friend for someone who's just starting, and can you help them out, and you know, can you answer questions? And they responded with generosity that held no bounds. It was a humbling experience how many of them went, yeah, absolutely, that would be awful, let me help. And they keep doing it. They keep doing it, and we have trained so many of them now such that they're here to support you. So if you want a buddy, there's a form to fill out. It's very short, and we will match you with someone. They might not be in your department, they'll be in a different field, but they'll be a mate, and they'll answer questions, and they'll tell you about restaurants and how to set up a bank account and where the buses go to, and you know, and where's the best place to eat on campus, for example. We also have a mentoring program. You can access this in your 2nd year, so this is a 1 year on from now, but it's a slightly more formalised process of buddying, and then we match you up with a postdoc researcher, so someone who's about at least 4 years on from you, and they are there to support you around the specific areas that you might want to develop. They are complementary to your supervisor, and they don't read your thesis, and they won't write your thesis for you, but other than that, you can appeal to them. All of this information, as Kate's already said, is on the grad school web pages, and we'll make sure that everything is there for you from this morning as soon as possible. As I say, we are BRIC. You can contact us on most things. We're a fairly small team, but we'll respond as fast as we can to you, and we will direct you to our colleagues to answer your questions. It's a warm welcome from me. Thank you so much for your attention so far. And I'm going to hand over to Celia.